Self-watering container guys are very helpful for people who forget to water their plants or who, like me, have a large amount of plants. All right, let's just talk about the benefits of a self-watering container. Number one is you can't overwater your plant. I mean, you can go past the line that's inside of some of these self-watering containers, but usually the pot won't allow it to sit inside. It'll float back up, and that right there should give you like a heads up, like, hey, something is wrong here, and hopefully you take out more water than just enough to stop it from floating, but actually follow the instructions. Like, the instructions usually do come with it, and they are beneficial. I'm one who usually tears stuff off. Like, I know how to use this, you know how to use that. Just give it a read and just see. You'll be surprised because not all self-watering containers are the same. All right, so we talked about the overwatering and the underwatering. Well, let's just talk about the consistency that this is going to do that's going to help out with the health of your plants. Listen, this right here is a Monstera Tres Los. Way more to it, but if you type that in, that'll get you to what kind of Monstera this is. Um, this is a feisty little plant. It does not like to dry out. When it dries out, it acts out. Right now, I'm actually dealing with the humidity issue, which I'm hoping I'm resolving now since I have the humidifier over here and I'm running it about 2 to 3 hours. I got to get a little bit better at being consistent because I run the one on the other side of the room for about 4 to 6 hours, depending on if I'm here or not. When I leave the house, most of the time I turn the steamer off. I just do that. You know, I'm old fashioned. I'm not going to burn my house down for some humidity. You know what I mean? But this one over here, I've recently just started running about a week and a half ago because I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and and take care of these monsteras over here because it's not only this one that has some humidity issues going on. My Addisana, I do too over there. What I've been doing for the last week is just bringing them back and helping them is just misting them with a little bit of water. That trick actually does work. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, just spray a little mist. I'm like, okay, spray a little mist, but it really does work. Here, I'm noticing as the leaves and stuff are just lightening up, the colors that's coming from them. So, I mean, it's a beautiful, gorgeous plant. And if I didn't pay attention to it, I was going to lose it. And I'm not saying that this right here was a solution to all the problems, but it's taking care of the problems that I'm aware of. I knew I had a problem with the watering with this plant because I just couldn't figure out the water cycle on here. And I also, when I did my repot, I did my airy mix. This plant was in the seller's mix when it came. I trust the seller. I usually buy some of my plants off of an auction online on Instagram. If anybody interested, just let me know at the bottom and I'll give it to you. But his mix and his plants, they do great in my room. They really do. I never have to repot anything until it's time to repot, you know? So I just left it in there, trusted in it, and I don't know, threw my pot and threw my mix, and here we go. I like to think my mix is the reason. All right, so with that being said, let's talk about certain plants for this type of pot. Be mindful that not all plants like constant moisture. You know, like your calatheas, they like moisture. Your monsteras, they like moisture. Even your scindapsus, they like constant moisture. But you get a lot of plants that don't like constant moisture. So that's something to consider, that just because it's a self-watering pot and you just like it's going to just suck up the water as it needs it, it actually is just going to suck up the water as it needed for the soil based on the plant sucking it and not so much as the plant roots telling the water, hey, give me something. Hopefully I was able to break that down. So you can't just stick one in anything. So just be mindful of that, what kind of plant. Monsteras are going to love it. Stick every monstera you have inside of it, you'll be good to go. No problem. I do want to tell you that not all one type works. And what I mean by that is my soil mix may be different from your soil mix. So therefore, you can't just take my advice when I say water your pot every 5 days because your mix is different than mine. Mine might dry out a little faster. And if that's the case, then I would have to water my plant every 3 or 4 days based off for yours maybe being every 7 or 8 days. Um, Go by and take a look at your meters when you get these. If you choose to, you definitely want to at all times just kind of check your meter. I usually do like a little tap just to make sure that number is accurate, because sometimes soil or whatever else gets stuck in there and it can have you sitting at a dot or a number that may not be true. The next thing that I always do is go around and just tap. All you gotta do is just tap your plants, and you can get a feel of how much water's there. I could feel that water's in here. I just dealt with this plant earlier today, so it's been taken care of. But I could feel that it has water in there. Your self-watering pot can't work if it don't have water in there. Now, your self-watering pots are going to buy you a little extra time. It's not going to take care of the time, though. You have to fill up the reservoir if you want your plants to thrive. Because when your plants start dying in a self-watering container, I don't think it's the plants at that point. You know what I mean? And we've all done it. Believe you me. That's how I'm able to sit here and tell you that it's you, not the plants, because I have killed a lot of plants, and I'm just like, well, if it doesn't want to do good, it don't want to do good. It's like, okay, Sean, what things did you give it to make sure it does good? Like, but I didn't know about self-watering containers. And actually, let me tell you something. I did know about self-watering containers, but it's a negative stigma that goes with having self-watering containers. Oh, you're not attentive to your plants. Bite me. What works, works. Because I guaranteed you, when you take a picture of your plant, when you look at your plant on the wall or wherever it is you have it placed, nobody's going to care about that self-watering pot that is sitting in. Nobody who really loves plants anyway. It's always going to be somebody who got a little hate in their blood. But get you one if you're having a problem with watering issues. And even if you're not and you have a couple of bucks, just give it a try. I mean, I don't see where you can go wrong. You can get these off of Amazon. I think mine was $30, but I ordered like a 5-pack or something. So you could just, I'm pretty sure they have single containers. I think I did see them for like maybe $9 or something like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in my store, because I do have an Amazon store, and I'm going to start adding a lot of stuff that I do have. And then you all could just go there and just take a look at what it is that I'm talking about. I understand that when you're new and you're starting off, guys, you're not going to have all this money to go and buy every piece of thing that I'm recommending or saying that you should get. No, and no means am I having you do that. Because if you're like me, any extra money I was getting, I was buying plants. So I get it. But you are going to really have to get serious about the care of your plants, because at some point in time, your plants are going to need more than just water. You know what I mean? So these things that I suggest, I'm just going to throw them in there. You go take a look at it, get a price, write it down, save it to a cart, add it to a list, and go from there. All right, so I wanted to show you, this is the green Congo philodendron, or in my case, I bought it as a philodendron nuclear, but they have so many different names of them. But mine, as descriptions, of philodendron nuclear. Guys, this plant is absolutely beautiful. It wasn't thriving like this until I got in the self-watering container. I had it and I was keeping up with the watering, but when you miss those 2 or 3 days, it does affect your plants. So, and the thing that's cool about this is that even though this is empty, I know I just checked it. I check them at least once a week. And by checking, just tap it, move it, like we said earlier. But now knowing that this is dry, that's fine with me, because I know it's still moisture in the soil. I even stuck my finger in there to kind of try to get a feel for it. You got to go down a little further to feel it down there. So it does need some water, because it's working its way down of drying. So I need to go ahead and get some water so it can start pushing it up. But guys, look at that. That's a beautiful plant right there. I'm thinking about maybe creating a segment or something in which I can kind of show my plants off a little bit more, because I noticed that I just show y'all in batches and that's the end of it. So after being able to achieve results like this, kind of makes it hard to ever want to go back, unless I have a plant that can't go on one of these, and then I won't. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Remember, when you're growing with Sean, it's always something to learn.